Hello everyone, welcome to Wildwood Studio. I'm Sarah, and in this video, I'm going to be customizing a set of coasters. I ordered these off of Amazon because I wanted to try burning cork, and I liked the design these had with the wood backing and the sheet of cork in the middle. I really wish I had a CNC machine, then I could just make them myself, but for now it's definitely more cost effective to just order the coasters. I'll link to these in the video description if you want to try this project. They're pretty nice. The cork did lift up a bit on some of them when I got them, but I just pushed it back down and they seem fine now. This is my first time burning on cork, and the nice thing was that I don't think it's usually coated in anything, so I was able to just buy finished coasters and not have to worry about burning varnish. I mean, I could be wrong, but it didn't smell chemically or anything when I burned it, so I think it was okay. So the first thing I did for this project was draw 6 circles in my sketchbook, the same size as the cork section in the center of the coasters, so that I could plan out my designs. I looked at a bunch of different coasters and things online to get some ideas for what I wanted to do, and I decided to do some leaf patterns. I picked these leaves because they were all different enough from each other to be interesting, but I didn't have any kind of geographical theme or anything otherwise. So I probably should have done a couple of tests, but instead I decided to just dive right in with the Monstera leaf coaster. It was the first thing I thought of for this project, so maybe a bit cliche considering how many things have this pattern on it, but I decided to just go for it anyway. I transferred the outline onto the cork using tracing paper, and then outlined it with my ball tip pen and did some shading with my spoon shader. This is when I realized I had my heat too high. Also, the cork is very soft and catches the pen pretty easily, so I had to lighten my pressure too. Next I did the ginkgo leaves. I did the same thing for these, the outline with my ball tip pen and then shading with my spoon shader. I think this project would be good for people at any stage, including beginners, and to simplify it you could always just skip the shading. I also decided to write the type of leaf on each coaster, and I really probably should have left that to the end because my first two were a little rough. I don't even think you can really read the first one, and this one isn't much better, but it improves a lot with the next one. For the third one I did a maple leaf. I mean, I basically had to since I'm Canadian and it's pretty much required by law. I'm glad I got that lettering thing sorted out by now because I think if you couldn't read this one they may have sent the Mounties after me. Once again I outlined them with my ball tip pen and added some shading with my spoon shader. Next I did the olive leaves, and I included an olive as well. I think this is my favorite one. I really like how this design worked out. I think this is where I got more comfortable with the cork as well. It burns on a pretty low temperature like the leather, and it also burns pretty fast. It took me a couple hours to decide on the designs and sketch them out, but after that it was only about 15 to 20 minutes per coaster. I've been thinking about trying to do some markets or sell things online, and I think these would be a good candidate for that. The set of 6 took about an hour and a half to 2 hours to burn, and that included transferring the images. The next leaves that I did were these oak leaves with acorns. These were fun because of the texture on top of the acorns, which I did with my spoon shader. Otherwise, they were exactly the same, outlined with my ball tip pen and shaded with my spoon shader. I was really happy with this one too. I did these as a Christmas gift for my mom. She's had a bit of a rough year. She had a fire at her house and ended up in Airbnbs and rental units until she finally got her house back like last month. And in all of that, she seems to have lost all of her coasters. The insurance company made a long list of everything they were replacing, but I guess guess when you list every single item someone has in their house in a big spreadsheet, it can be a little difficult to tell if anything is missing. I also did a custom charcuterie board for her with a logo of her website and blog on it. She has celiac disease and writes articles and recipes geared towards people who have to live with a gluten-free diet for one reason or another. It's really good. She's been working on it for a long time. I'll link to it below if anyone's interested. I think it's definitely a good resource for anyone who's thinking about going gluten-free or just wants more good recipes. This is the charcuterie board with the logo. I think it turned out pretty well and it was a fun, quick project as well, but with Christmas coming, I didn't film it, which now I regret. For the last leaf, I did a chestnut leaf. I realized once I started with this that it looked a bit like a pot leaf, and then I half considered just doing a pot leaf as a joke, but I wasn't sure if my parents would like that joke or not. This design was the same as the others, outlined with my ball tip pen, then shaded with my spoon shader. This leaf is more complicated than the other ones, so I didn't do 2 of them or more, I just did one big one that took up the whole space. And here are all the coasters together. Like I said, if you want to try this project, I'll link to the ones that I used in the description below. As always, please let me know what you think in the comments. Which one was your favorite? And if you want to see more of my work, you can check out my Facebook page or follow me on Instagram. Also, please make sure to like this video if you haven't already and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss all my future art videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.